So there could be chances that one product at your own website giving you more margin, and on Amazon it is giving a lesser margin, or on some other platform it is giving a lesser margin, or there could be different sort of expenses on that platform. When I say maximum cash is stuck, it usually get stuck into the account receivables, inventories. You pay advances to your vendor. So these are the prime areas where it's 70 to 80% cash is stuck. Whenever you get the returns from the Amazon or Flipkart, how do you reconcile at your warehouse? You get a bulk return from them. We have a solution for it. Building all detailed structure for the organization. We have done it for various organizations. So basis that we drive, and we have shown how much runway is there for the organization and what they can do to increase their runway. We identify those problems at a weekly level or a monthly level, so that problem should not become so big that it becomes difficult to handle. At the end of the day, Jyoti, we have seen founders, they do not lack because of idea. They lack due to less of visibility.
Hello and welcome to CXO Speak, brought to you by Zawter. We are here to discuss how functional finance is very important for D2C businesses. The D2C segment is booming in India right now. We have seen how some spectacular brands have scaled and have become household names today. But as this industry grows, with this opportunity, there are also a lot of challenges. That is why we at Zawter have come up with a complete D2C solution. We have launched it recently. And this framework is specifically designed for founders, for business owners who want to take their brands to the next level, who want to scale digitally with structure and sustainably. And at the core of this playbook is our wonderful team of CXOs who have deep and rich expertise in growth strategy, in finance, and fundraise. And we have with us someone who is a finance expert who has held leadership roles in reputed names like Flipkart, Myntra, Noise, HPCL, and Jaipur. He is a startup advisor and passionate about helping founders scale wonderfully well and take smart business and finance decisions. So we have with us Ankur Bansal. Hi Ankur, it's wonderful to have you at CXO Speak. So excited to have this conversation with you.
Hi, Jyoti.
I think we'll just dive right into the conversation. We're talking about finance, functional finance for D2C players, and finance has always been an area that founders think about, but they absolutely don't love it as such. But yes, I think we'll crack some myths open and we'll give them some food for thought as to how to look at this differently. Um, Ankur, let's begin with this. I've seen founders focus very much on the number of orders that they are getting. So they're so obsessed about the top line. They keep tracking that metric, but I'm sure there are so many other metrics that one needs to be tracking, one needs to measure, so as to be able to take decisions effectively. Uh, According to you, in your experience, what are those key metrics that a founder should track,
Right.
and how are they, if not more important than the top line, they are equally important?
So just to name some, see, there are various metrics, Jyoti, one has to track, but there are key metrics, likewise, customer acquisition cost, we call it CAC, and then there is, contribution margins or the gross margins. So, when we see the customer contribution margins and the gross margin, we have to see channel level margins or the category level margins, product level margins. So there is variety of things. So there could be chances that one product at your own website giving you more margin, and on Amazon it is giving a lesser margin, or on some other platform it is giving a lesser margin, or there could be different sort of expenses on that platform. So contribution gross margins are two metrics which is important. Otherwise, it is cash flow management, where we see majority of cash is stuck into the inventories or input GSTs. So if you're not able to see the runway, that is very typical sort of a thing in terms of you're burning cash and you can't see your runway. You are feeling like you're generating revenue, but you're not able to fill the gap towards the cash. So
True.
cash realization is most important in that case.
Right.
So likewise, if let's say one can say that if your aging cycle, the number of DSO, that's how we look at it. If you see the DSO realization is on a higher side, let's say 30 days, 60 days, one has to see how one can fill that gap. One can look forward for bill discounting or something, some other avenues. Likewise, talking to the partner, how can we reduce the same? Likewise, by reducing certain gross margin or discount, so that one can reduce the cash realization in terms of number of days. One is the performance marketing also, which is very high on a D2C brand or any company who's getting into D2C thing. Usually it lies between 20 to 30% for a startup, or it can go up to 40 to 50. So
Correct.
one has to see where they can achieve the best contribution margin.
Absolutely. So, according to you, if you were to pick top five, which would they be?
So for me, it is again contribution margin would be the first one. One has to see the profitability, and in this era wherein you see the IPOs, people look for the profitability now.
True
So
that.
that is one has to see.
Yeah.
They should aim for the profitability rather than looking for the revenue number or the top lines. So that is one. A founder should look at ASP of the product, average selling price of the product, how it is looking for different products, at what channels, how it is looking like, to identify what all margins are there. So this is one KPI one should look into at every stage of the business. Every month, weekly, or a daily basis, one should monitor how is my channel performing. Then otherwise, I must say, how is your contribution margins are coming, how is your performance marketing going into that channel. So likewise, into a certain channel wherein my performance marketing is so high, and I'm not able to meet up the contribution margins. My contribution margin are negative, and my customer acquisition cost is so high that the lifetime value of from the customer, I'm not able to take that from that customer.
Correct.
So one has to identify those factors, one
True.
has to ascertain all those numbers. What will be how in terms of, when I say, if I'm into a business wherein I have to provide warranties, so I must have to see what is my warranty structure and how is the replacement cycle will work, to identify how much replacement has to be provided. So I need to see how much provisioning for the inventory that needs to be done for those cases. Another one is the cash flow management. As I said, one has to see continuous on the cash flow side, how is the runway are, where the maximum cash is stuck. So one has to see, Jyoti, the balance sheet side of the business. When I say cash flow, the balance sheet, usually when you see various startups founders, they see the P&L side of the business. They don't get into the balance sheet where the maximum cash is stuck. So likewise, when I say maximum cash is stuck, it usually get stuck into the account receivables, inventories. You pay advances to your vendor. So these are the prime areas where it's 70 to 80% cash is stuck.
Absolutely.
And if you're not able to reduce those things, likewise with the AP, so how you reduce in terms of AP, accounts payable side, you increase the payable cycle for your creditors, you talk to them, the agreement should be like that. So when I see in terms of AP side also, I've seen into startup, they're making the advance payment to the vendors. Usually if you see the industry norm, it is net 30. When I say net 30, it is payable after 30 days of performing the task, and here we are making the advance payment.
So
So
true.
so these are the few things.
So your cash gets struck, and then there's a lot of a feeling of not there's no liquidity as such for the business to run.
Right, right.
Makes sense.
So
Makes sense.
ultimately, by this, your cash flow cycle, the realization cycle will go up into that case. If your cash realization cycle from from the sourcing to the realization, when I say sourcing to realization, you place an order to your vendor, or you are doing a manufacturing wherein you are getting the raw material and converting into finished good, and let's say you're keeping 3 months inventory, then it turns to be 90 days again. And then aging, you are receiving from your D2C partners, your own website or Amazon, Flipkart or any other platform. So again it increases to another 1 month or 45 days. So it get up to 150 days. So you can imagine by that logic how
Right.
much cash would be stuck to run a business.
Sure.
So again, there are two metrics when you see the balance sheet. One is one, if your business is high capex intensive, then one has to see those numbers as well.
True, true,
How
true.
you realize if you are investing into the machinery or various instruments, how will you get the realization, what will be the IRR, and how much time will it get converted into cash.
Correct.
But otherwise, if your business is not capex heavy, in that case you have to these are the key numbers wherein one has to see in terms of AR, AP, inventory, input GST.
So I believe where founders are so focused on just the top line, there's so many other metrics that we need to track and measure and check so that this business, this engine works smoothly. Talking about key metrics, uh, you were talking about inventory being stuck, and so one of biggest problems with D2C businesses is inventory management. So how much inventory should I invest in? At the same time, there are so many returns that come. So various platforms we have, there are sales happening and there are various returns happening. And then we tend to believe that across all of these larger platforms, the data that comes up or the reconciliations that they have done or the working or the calculations that they have done is in order. But at the same time, I've also experienced that there are mistakes in those calculations as well. So uh, how can we ensure, or how does the finance function ensure that proper reconciliations can be done, and how do we ensure better inventory management, as well as ensuring that these refunds etc are reflected correctly so that our finance is healthy.
Right. So, Jyoti, this topic is very interesting. In a way, one has to see there are various complexity involved into this. Whenever you see the return management, there are two types of return. One is RTO and other one is DTO.
Mm-hmm.
So when I say RTO is return to origin, customer
Mm.
has not opened the box and it got back to your origin point.
Mm.
And when I say DTO, the customer has opened the box. It is an open box delivery and which has got back to the origin. So one has to see how the product is returned. One has to see the return metrics into two format. When I say an open box has come, that return percentage, that it has not impacted the product, right? But in case of open delivery, customer has opened the box, one has to see how is the product now, whether it is saleable or not, and we have to refurbish it or not, or how it should be sold further, or it will be a loss to to the business. So this is one. Then coming to the inventory management of the returns, wherein one has to reconcile the returns or the inventory. This is also very challenging in terms of it get complex. Why I say complex? The number of transaction into a e-commerce, it is humongous. Daily transactions are, let's say, if you're doing 1,000 order a day, 2,000, 5,000 order a day for a month, you can understand the volume, the size. So, doing the inventory management, the return reconciliation, one has to see whenever you get the returns from the Amazon or Flipkart, how do you reconcile at your warehouse? You get a bulk return from them. Let's say for a Amazon, let's say you are doing a business of you are getting a 10% return, and all the consolidated return you are getting at your warehouse. You are not able to reconcile the same. They are saying they have done the return of, let's say, 1,000 quantity and you have received only 80, 60, 40. And also into that case you have not received the actual product. Then it becomes challenging. You are not able to reconcile the inventory. On their portal it will appear that it is returned, but in your books the inventory has not come yet.
So true.
So you're not able to reconcile the account in that case.
Hmm.
How will you able, how can a business can reconcile the same? So these are typical challenges that any D2C brand face.
Hmm.
And with regard to, likewise, in case of procurement also, when we are buying the goods, so there are also nobody is controlling the GRN over those goods as well. So likewise, uh, finance is recording the purchases basis the invoice, and in the ops team they're saying out of 100 they receive only 90, 80, 70. So the deficiency or the difference has not been parked into the books of account, due to which there will be a lot of differences that appear into the inventory reconciliation.
Correct, correct. So you're saying it's very important to actually track all of those, because at each data point, to be able to reconcile, to be able to capture the data effectively and then record it in the books of accounts, we'll need a very strong and a very functional finance team,
Right.
right? Uh, how do we deal with those challenges when it comes to actually executing them on ground? Is something that maybe you would want to
Right.
shed some light on.
So Jyoti, we break the problem into multiple parts. So as I said, likewise in terms of procurement, we should ensure that every product which is getting into the warehouse, we should see key in the books of ops and in the books of finance, the GRN quantity should match. The three-way matching should be there, so that one can control the debit note credit note mechanism. If there is any shortages, or let's say price variation, short quantity variation, color variation, it should be answered at the time of GRN only. When I say returns from their own website, this is one thing wherein one has to see the RTO TTO thing comes into play. How is your COD orders are performing, how is your prepaid orders are performing, what are the return percentages are there. One has to identify those metrics, and basis that you can understand how businesses, you can forecast a thing, how it can help. Likewise, nowadays we have seen there is a prepaid discount. If you're making a prepaid order, there is a 1% discount on the platform.
Yes.
So that's how they're reducing the return percentage on the
Correct.
same. So these are the metrics. Then on Amazon, Flipkart, or any other platform, one has to see how the returns are coming, how we are managing the same, whether it is properly, again, at the time of GRN of those quantity. So, and these are very basic things, Jyoti, and on these platforms, one has to inform them within, let's say, 24 to 48 hours. If you don't inform them, they will not allow you to pass the debit note or credit note for the same, and there will be a loss to the business.
Correct.
So one has to see effectively and set the proper SOP for the ops
Sure.
team or the finance team, so that there is no deviation or there is no surprises at the end of the day. You are looking at the receivable, it is showing that you are have done a X number of sale, but your outstanding AR, it is showing 2x. So it shows like 60 days, 70 days sales which is outstanding. It's not a good sign.
Absolutely. So you're just saying there's a lot of hard work that goes into capturing all of those numbers and tracking all of those metrics, even for the finance function, I believe.
Right, it is there, but once the SOP is there, once the processes are there, if we have the set the correct SOP, how things should be properly set up for an organization, how it should be dealt with, then we have the right answer for every question, and we can it's not a tricky job in that case. One has not to do a guesswork when things are coming to them. They
Right.
know the SOP is there, it says like this, and one has to perform like that.
True,
Right.
true.
So that should be there.
Right. So it's very important, like you said, to have those SOPs in place, and only an expert can come and understand the business, the nuances, intricacies, and all of the data points where there can be leakages,
Right.
and curate an SOP that works best for the company, right? So you're talking about receivables going 2x.
Yeah.
So there's this across selling across various large platforms is so exciting, to be able to sell across various platforms.
Right.
And at the same time, because of the different methodologies of calculation that they have, with different payouts that are applicable, there's a delay in payouts. Sometimes there's no clear visibility as to when the company would be receiving cash. uh, and then there are of course there are returns and refunds and discounts, etc. So it's very difficult for the founder to understand as to how much cash would be coming in. How do I foresee? So how does a finance function effectively reconcile these receivables across all of these online large platforms? Because each of it has its own
Right.
nuances, different payout dates, etc. So how can we ensure that these are effective?
So good point, Jyoti. We have seen again, likewise, with every quick commerce, or quick commerce is more prominent nowadays, and there are different payment terms with every quick commerce, and into Amazon, Flipkart, or any platform, there are different payment terms, and it is also dependent upon which way we are selling. Are we into a marketplace model with them, or is it a B2B model or a SOR model? When I say SOR, it is sale or return model. So one has to reconcile effectively. One has to see what are the payment terms with the vendor, our B2B partner, in terms of it could be 30 days, 45 days, or a weekly payment. So one has to see the GRN dates, how, and after GRN, how much the payment days are exactly. It could be net 7, net 15, net 30. Okay, but they could be. We have seen into any D2C business, there are various sort of deductions that they do. It could be related to shortage of goods. This is one which is very prominent that we see, and people do not trace that thing at the time of making sales to the any B2B partner. But at the time of realization, they get to know there is a quantity shortage and there is a difference in payment. Then again, sharing the proof of the POD with the partner on time and claiming that thing, it becomes important. Again, if you are not able to claim on time, they are not able to give you the credit for the same. Post that, you see marketing deductions. There are sort of various marketing deductions that they do. What happens is marketing team is running the campaigns and various sort of marketing, and you're able to you're able to find out you have done a X value of sale and you have spent almost 50% of that revenue into the marketing, and it get deducted from your sales.
So, yes.
So the actual realization value is dipped.
Is dipped. Correct.
Right.
Correct.
So basis that, one has to identify. I must say that the practical problem that we have seen, likewise, the marketing team not giving approval what they have done already, the deductions, or the campaigns that they have run, due to which it affects the P&L also, profitability also. You're not able, if the finance team or the portal are not effective, if you're not getting the details on time, the monthly MIS got also effective. For an organization, various sort of reconciliation, again, e-commerce reconciliations, when we say our own website reconciliation, there are so many prepaid COD, into prepaid also there are various sort of channel, like Razorpay, PayU, PayPal, and then into COD various channel, again
So
various
many
COD
of them.
partners.
It was so difficult to track all of them.
Right.
Yes.
Then again, with Amazon, Flipkart, again, B2C, B2B, B2C models, various sort of reconciliations come into play. Then again, quick commerce. So various sort of reconciliation, various channel, one has to do various sort of reconciliations. And when you extract report from various portal, all the reports are different from the portal. Your report is different, and from the portal is also different. And
There's no symmetry at all.
there is no symmetry. Amazon will throw their reports at their format, Flipkart would be in their format. So in every report is different, and one has to find out what are the key, if one has to apply VLOOKUPs, numbers to identify the reconciliation, do the reconciliation, one has to find the things. And basis that, all the reconciliations are drive. And it's not about reconciliation, Jyoti. One has to see reconciliation to ho gaya. How to move forward after that.
Yes.
The recovery from the
True
businesses,
that.
other businesses. That is more important. That is more critical. It's not about only reporting.
Correct.
Ki we have done the reconciliation. Now how to move forward.
What are the insights that are coming out from
Yeah.
all of that data
So,
and reconciliation? Yeah.
Insight plus following up with the customer,
So true.
for the recovery of that amount. One
Yes.
should do that, and taking the sign off from the customer at the end of the day.
Yeah.
any auditor or a due diligence partner ask for the
Mm.
NDC, no due
Yeah.
certificate,
True,
or a
sir.
customer reconciliation. So that's how things look like.
Yeah, I can now sense what D2C founders must be going through with all of that going on in their heads. There's a lot at stake because of the dynamism that is there inherent in the D2C businesses, and there's so much of movement happening, so many moving elements
Mhm.
that it's quite difficult to keep a track of each and every moving element. And I think, like you said, a strong finance function can be very an enabler to
Yeah.
ensure that the
Right.
businesses scale and have that strong foundation. Uh, Talking about enabler, I think there's one more area that if we would want to touch upon. There are so many founders, like I said, revenue in their books. If there's a lot of revenue coming in, it's on paper very strong. But at the same time, when you look at cash, that there's no cash coming in, so that the cash flow is weak, cash management is very poor. We are not able to effectively churn it in a way that we have it available for us, for our operations, for our expenses. How can we ensure that the founder is able to forecast what is the runway, what is the burn that's going to be, what is the cash that's going to be required for all kinds of business operations, and ensure that cash wise the finance function is strong.
So, great point again, Jyoti. Cash flow forecasting is a must for any business to run. And when I say if you are having a 150 plus day, working capital cycle or the cash realization cycle,
That's too long.
it's too long. And you have to be on your toes to identify how is your cash flow for, let's say, next 1 year. How will be your sales number would look like, how is the realization would look like, what all vendor payments, the PO payments that you'll be doing to your vendors, what will be that, how is your salary structure would be, you are making payments, you are adding up team. If you're a growing organization, you'll be adding more people to the organization.
Hmm.
You have to fuel your performance marketing also. You have to, the warehousing expenses will go up. So one has to forecast into you have to create an entire sheet. You have to, deep dive into every nature of expenses that you'll be doing. And one has to see what will be the payment terms with the AR side also, account receivable side also, AP side also, and to figure out what will be my cash realization for the month. And one has to see month on month or a weekly basis to identify what would be my cash realization and what would be the maximum dip that I'll be seeing into next 6 months or 1 year down the line. So that's how cash flow planning is must for an organization. One has to see the runway also, how much runway is there for the business. Usually, we always look for the sales number. We forget to see the cash number exactly. How is the cash realization? And it is a major task for a finance controller or a head of finance or to identify wherein reduce those numbers in terms of reduce the get the realization for the organization. So it's a must again. So creating a proper model always help for any organization in terms of building a proper structure wherein, as I said earlier, building up how is your payment terms with your suppliers, vendors, creators, and basis that you have to build a super model, a detailed model, number of various sort of Excel sheet, various hard work it will go into
Yeah.
it to build that numbers. And basis that one can arrive how the number is working out, how is the cash realization is coming out, and how is your balances are there. One also must see, let's say if the balance is lying into your bank account, and if you're not able to, usually people do make FDs. They should see what are the other revenues wherein they can generate additional revenue for the organization, additional income, not
Mm.
revenue basically, additional income for the organization in terms of income. So these are the factor basis this, and we have a solution for it. Building all detailed structure for the organization. We have done it for various organizations. So basis that we drive, and we have shown how much runway is there for the organization and what they can do to increase their runway.
So, Ankur, you were saying, is, well, when businesses scale, they have a different set of problems altogether that they face. You need to have bigger teams, larger, SKUs, number of SKUs, and you need a lot of, operations increase. How does a finance function ensure that a business, the foundation of a business is so steady that it can now scale to become multifold in growth?
Like, right. So, Jyoti, one has to see the numbers very strongly. One has to be in proper control of the numbers. Likewise, when I say numbers in terms of when I say gross margins, so likewise, if you're running huge discounts or offer to achieve the sales number, you're losing out on the major number, which is a gross margin. If on the top line, if you're losing out on the gross margin, your all the contribution margins, EBITDA, and everything will decline. So one has to be in a proper control of all the numbers in terms of contribution margins, what all expenses would be coming into the organization, and one has to be in terms of doing a proper variations in terms of finding out what all variations are coming into your monthly MIS, monthly PNL, or a weekly PNL while analyzing the numbers. If there is anything off, one has to see the number. One has to go into deep dive to identify why the number is getting off. What is the problem behind it? Fix that problem and find out a solution to that. So at Jotter also we do find out a solution for those. We identify those problems at a at a weekly level or a monthly level, so that that problem should not become so big that it becomes difficult to handle, or it has already impacted your EBITDA.
Correct.
So that's how we see it.
And have all the controls in place so that it doesn't sort of explode later.
Right. So that's why we said key SOP is so obvious for any organization. The setting of the processes uh, to ensure that there is no major gap coming later. There is no surprises should be coming later. Into charter is we identify how is the revenue for the organization, how it will be growing. So we also add up people accordingly into our services. Likewise, if you are adding more channel to the organization, if you are adding more SKU to the organization, and there is a requirement of more resources to keep us going, it should not be, business should not be hampered, right? We should deliver what we have promised for, and we are. So that's how we look at the momentum. We talk to the founders to find it out how the business look like for next 1 year, 2 years, 5 years down the line, and basis that we structure the things, we structure the processes for the organization. Likewise, when we say we should have SOP for all, but it cannot be applicable for our organization who is running for 0 to 1 journey, but it would be required for, let's say, 1 to 100 journey or 100 to 200
Absolutely,
journey.
yes.
So different thing is required at different level.
Correct.
Same shirt doesn't fit for all.
One size doesn't fit all. So
Yeah.
true, so true.
So at the end of the day, Jyoti, we have seen founders. They do not lack because of idea. They lack due to less of visibility in terms of they are not able to their cash flow, system processes, due to which all the system, all the business fall down.
That's absolutely correct, I think. And then that's the reason why so many founders need CXO advice. They need for someone who's experienced, who has seen the journey, to come in to give them food for thought, to enable them grow faster.
Yeah.
And that's exactly what we do at Zawter.
Yeah.
Ankur is a CXO. I'm paneled with Zawter. Ankur, it was a wonderful, insightful conversation.
Thank you, Jyoti.
Thank you for joining us.
Yeah, lovely connecting. Yeah, thank you.